pass over. Yeah, do you record it? Yeah, go for it.
I think that tonight, I'd just like to say, when you're on the council, and when one of you will also be, it's the opportunity to serve, but also when we're in this position, people come to us and we need wisdom, talk to people to see where they're coming from, to see what they want from the council, and sometimes it's pretty confusing. Well, it's not our responsibility. You know, we've all been through that thing. North Devon District Council is who you want, but people come to see us anyway because they've got a heartfelt problem that they can't deal with. And so I thought tonight we particularly think in our prayers about decisions we have to make on the cuff sometimes. The good of ourselves, the person who come to see us, and council policy anyway. So let's just pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity again as the Ilfracombe Town Council to meet together, to share with one another, to be honest with one another, and to forward the work of Ilfracombe in this area. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity. And we pray, Lord, for those that would like to join the council. Pray, Lord, that would go well tonight, that they'll all be able to speak and say what they want to say about themselves, and that the choice that we made this evening will be the right one. And Lord, we thank you for the opportunities that we have when we're on the council, that we have people come to us with their needs. Help us to be able to listen. Help us to be able to give the right response. Help us to do the right thing if it means that we have to contact another person or the other councils. Lord, what we ask for most of all for tonight and for the new person joining the council is wisdom. Lord, we need more than our own wisdom very often. And so we come to you, Heavenly Father, and ask for your wisdom in the decisions we make, in the decisions we have to make, and in our sharing together. And we pray all these things in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Very much, Jeff. Right, now we've got a busy agenda tonight, guys, so let's make a start. Okay, first thing is to receive any apologies and reasons for absence.
Yes, we've got apologies from Councillor Evatt, Councillor Huggins, Councillor Townsend, Councillor Gear, Councillor Schofield, and Councillor Newland.
Right.
And I think that's it.
Okay. Still got enough to carry on, so
yes.
That's really good. Thank you very much. There we go. Any chair's discretion or declaration? Any declarations of interest? I don't think there's any in the book. No. And then we've got chair's discretion. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up in chair's discretion? No? That's a good start. And then we've got any of the items on the agenda to be moved into part B.
I would recommend that we move item, sorry, I was expecting Steve to be here, item 12.2 into part B, as that is a contractual item.
Yeah.
And I would suggest if council wants to discuss your voting options, this is the time to decide whether you want that to be in part B or if that be in the public's.
Okay, guys, we've got the
I sent a report through last week And I did say to Laura, I didn't know whether that could be in part B because it might identify an individual in that.
Okay, happy to do that.
So that would be,
No,
it's not numbered on the agenda because unfortunately I received it slightly late for the agenda, but it will be under the town councillors items of point 13, so one of those will go under part B.
Okay, thank you. Now regarding our co-option, okay, Councillor Grant?
I don't know if this is what you're going to come on to, Chair, but it occurs to me that reading through the policy, if we had 2 vacancies, this would be done by a ballot. As we only have 1 vacancy, it is apparently done not by a ballot. I suggest that in the future, that's changed because it seems to be madness. I would suggest that there's an element, not all, because you want to do as much in public as you can, but I think it must be an element of part B in 5.1. Because if there isn't, I think you run the risk of effectively punching 4 people in the face in public, and I think that's an awful way of doing it.
No, I agree. Okay, can we take a vote on moving part,
The end of
the end part 5.1 into part B, so we can make a discussion and do a vote. Everybody in favour of that? Yep. Thank you. Anybody against? No problem. Right, so that's quite a lot there. You got that? Yeah. Anybody else? No. We'll have a car park there. We do that. Actually, gonna be as well.
As part of the steering group, did the steering group feel that it should be as a part B item?
I think members have seen the business plan.
Members have seen the business plan. I think we're beyond the point where it's,
Yeah, I mean, if this all goes well, it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, if another competing buyer comes in, then we're not going to offer, are we? So I don't.
No.
Having said that, I don't know, do that being.
I think it's mostly sensitive, so it should all be in B.
nothing's finalised at this point, so it will go out to public consultation at which point, but you need to make that decision at this meeting. So maybe at this point, it should be a part B item because it is contractual. But it will eventually, by the end of this meeting and tomorrow, will very likely be more transparent.
Okay, let's have a vote, guys. Who's in favour of moving 16.1? No, it's not. I just
18.
read the red parking, I'm very excited. So, 18.1 onto part B. I think it's the right decision. So, anybody against? Abstention? One against. Okay, so we move that to part B as well. Right, okay, so we've got a bit of a trim part A agenda. Right, here we go, right. Firstly, welcome you all to the meeting this evening. We're going to start with any members of the public who would like to have a say and pass over to our resident member of the public to fill his slot. How you doing, all right? Had a birthday, didn't you?
I'm going to come in to talk.
Eh? Is it right you had a recent birthday?
Well, I must, yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm 90 now, so we're right.
Oh,
There's plenty of wisdom there, eh?
you won't sing happy.
Can I just ask one or two things? One thing, is there any further information regarding Premier Inn? And also the Grosvenor Hotel, which was the Grosvenor Hotel, which has now been boarded up. Is there any movement on any of this? And the third thing is, who owns the new toilets which is built on the seafront? Does it belong to the Ilfracombe Town Council or is it the North End District Council? And all the port toilets, when they are built and in service, are they chargeable? Thank you.
I can answer a couple of them, possibly not the Grosvenor Hotel one, but the Premier Inn is still being brought up as part of our Ilfracombe Regeneration Board. We have invited them to a meeting of which they haven't been as yet, so we're still trying to get headway on that one. The old Grosvenor Hotel, I don't have any input on at all because I can't even think which one that is. So,
The planning office have been in touch with the receivers. It's in the receivers' hands, and the receivers are trying to unwind the leases. There's about 30 rooms that's been individually leased out, some of which are owned by Russians, which makes it even more exciting. And the receivers are trying to threaten to sue the owners of the room so that they relinquish their leases. So it's legal, it'll take ages, but they are working on it at a speed. How fast, I don't know, but it is progressing slowly.
I can answer with regards to the toilets that are happening down opposite, Weatherspoons. They now refer to, I think, North Devon Council are building them. It's referred to as the kiosk toilets. It's the bus shelter and toilets. Currently, build is taking place, obviously, as you know. It's currently owned by North Devon Council. They have indicated that it will be coming to Ilfracombe Town Council, but as yet it hasn't been brought to us with any heads of terms or anything legal. So at the moment, until that comes to us, we haven't agreed to take them on. But if we do, even if we don't, yes, they will be chargeable. They are going to have doors on them that you will have to pay to use them.
Thank you.
Okay, answer as much as we can, thank you. Anybody else remember the project? No? Like to say? Oh, sorry, I didn't see it.
The last meeting I came to,
Yeah.
I asked about, if we could find out who owns the land behind my property outside Valley.
Yeah.
I still haven't heard anything yet, I didn't know if you managed to get me any information. I know that somebody knows who it belongs to, because they've been down and trimmed loads and loads of bushes back at the higher number end of Burnside Road, but not at the lower number end of Burnside Road. So I know somebody knows who it belongs to. And the second one is, this is, my son asked me to raise it because he can't get in here today. Is anything going to be done about the road on Marlborough Road, where the traffic lights are, where it's degenerating so badly now?
Okay.
Yeah, the first one, as far as we know, is North Devon Homes. The second one, there's still legal argument, I've got it here, which I've got a quote from them. There's still legal arguments from Devon County side, and they say they're formulating their final legal advice. They consider it to be a very complex issue. Highways team will be clearing the debris to enable the road to be widened. And they will have the legal decision by the time that we have our next meeting. So, as I said before, what's happened is that the land slips occurred, the landowners' insurers have refused to pay because they say that they looked at the deeds and feel that it's county matter. County looked at the deeds and lettered it and said it's the other way around, it's the landowner. So the poor lady that owns a house is stuck in the middle of the moment with a bill for about 50,000 if it goes wrong. They've both engaged visitors to fight that, and where I'm told there'll be a decision within a month. But I am led to believe from, I don't think it's going to end well. I think it'll end up in court because neither side seems to be backing down at the moment, and that's normally a very expensive way to go. So that's that one. And but the council, I think, are talking about clearing the road, clearing it so it'll be 2 lanes again. But they'll have to border off the pavement. You can't leave it like that. But I mean, it'll be marginally better, but it's just a nuisance.
But will nothing be done about the road surface, where it's degenerated?
So there's a patching plan for Marlborough Road, which I think it starts soon. There's I think I mentioned it somewhere. Was it last month? There's something happening in Marlborough Road soon, within a month or so, patching and servicing. The bits that are being closed off and everything while the work's going on. It's a traffic order thing.
Yeah.
Email out to us. Weekends only.
Okay, any more questions?
Well, just going back to Shirley's first thing about the back of your property, I will get that raised at the town team meeting as well, just to try and reiterate, because we have got a relationship going with North Devon Homes, so we'll see if we can get any more clarification for you.
Because they denied ownership to me.
I think there is still some disputes as to who owns various bits, but.
There's a tree you're concerned about. I think it's one of the tree.
Sorry?
Isn't it a tree you want trimmed, isn't it?
There's about 4 trees that are
Yeah.
so high, they're touching number 1. I live on the floor, but some of the trees are touching number 1's roof.
Yeah.
And so they just take out all the light out of the house and put that there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's partition participation from the public. We're going to move on to number 5 now. We've got 5.1, presentation from candidates for co-option to the council. So firstly, I want to just welcome you all. Thank you for putting your hands up. Usually struggle to get candidates, and we've got 5. So wow, that's unusual. So we're going to give you all the opportunity to say a few words. I'm just going to go left to right, if that's okay. And yeah, welcome. What we're going to do, I think, is hear from you, and then we're going to have our meeting, and then later on we'll have a discussion as councillors, and we'll have a vote, and it will be recorded, and then our town clerk will announce you whoever's been selected. Or, yeah, is it selected or elected? No, co-opted. Sorry, co-opted. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if we start over here, we've got I think. Richard. Yeah.
Hi.
Good person. How you doing?
Good evening.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for having me. My name is formally Richard. I'm learning aid, just repeating. So thank you for the opportunity, become a member of the opportunity. Just to give you a bit of background on myself, I've actually lived in Ilfracombe for 18 years, not 15 after my application. I did a few calculations and kind of been flying. Yeah, so I raised 2 of my 4 kids in Ilfracombe. They've both been to the academy and are now off in uni in London. So that's been a success. I'm anxious to engage with the school and also worked for a local social housing provider for 11 of those 18 years. Nearly exclusively in Ilfracombe, but in Barnstable and surrounding area. I now look for a different social housing provider in the wider Exmoor area, but it covers a bit North Devon, Somerset and Dorset. So my angle really is I'm keen on the housing agenda, which of course Ilfracombe is a very major crisis situation. So I'm keen to move that agenda on as much as I can. Before I moved to Ilfracombe, I worked in Bristol part of the time for Bristol City Council. And during my time there, I worked on community projects to engage with young people, to encourage women and people from the Black and ethnic minority community to engage with construction in Bristol. So it was my job to make sure that all construction projects in Bristol, owned by Bristol City Council, were engaging with the community, and we had people working in there. Similarly, after that, I worked for Sovereign Housing around the southwest of England, and I did a similar project for them. In which we engaged with all sorts of parts of the community, women as well, and Black and ethnic minority community, trying to make sure that they all engaged on our construction sites throughout the southwest. So I have, in terms of my skill base, I'm quite well versed in planning and in construction law, construction practice, all that sort of thing, which may be useful to the council. I'm also fully signed up, enthusiastic to the idea of decent sheltered housing and housing for people. I run a small business in Ilfracombe until recently, and I've just packed that up because I'm winding down, heading towards retirement, hence my capacity to be a councillor member. I think I'd make a good council member because I have experience not in local politics, but I've been representatives of all sorts of people, trade unions, for instance, shop steward, and I've got all sorts of other skills. I think I'd be a hard worker and conscientious, and I'm keen to see Ilfracombe. I think it has an awesome amount of potential. It's a beautiful place. My partner Steffi organises the art trail. She and I live together at the top of the hill where we redeveloped the bungalow and made a beautiful house that we now go to Ilfracombe and enjoy that. So we're keen to make sure other people can enjoy privileges and advantages we have. And I'd like to engage with them and try and move Ilfracombe along a bit. Okay, so that's me.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Just like to say, he's a very good chap, eh? Yeah, he might look a bit dodgy, but I lived there for several years. I never had anything go missing. We've had the cat as well. Right, okay, well,
thanks for this. I'm sort of surprised I'm doing this, because I sort of got to COVID and stopped. I was involved in several things. I've just recently thought, hang on, I'm not quite dead yet. And I just thought, perhaps I've got sort of something to give. Why would I want to be a councillor? Well, like Aid, I am disturbed by the housing facilities here. I'm disturbed by the fact I spend some time down at Bounce Place. I see desperate people, no fault of their own. Any of us could end up in, you know, in the sort of circumstances, be it through alcohol, drugs, PTSD. And I just think, well, I think we'd all agree on there is a gaping hole, not just in North Devon, this country, about what we can do. And I know there's limits to what we can do, so I'll be very interested in it. Another thing, I brought my children up here. One of them's still here, she won't go away. And I've got 2 grandchildren here. And I think it's a great place to bring up children. But I do feel some concern about children's facilities here. Where I brought up, if I wanted to go and kick a ball about, there was lots of places. I've lived here quite a long time now, and it's restricted. I know there are difficulties in finding places, but I think facilities for children, be it youth clubs or play spaces or whatever that we could support, I'm very keen on. And also the general state of the place. Lady over there brought up, you know, the rocks falling down, and that's a nice rock that was growing there on Marlborough Road. And we all can walk around and sort of feel slightly frustrated, and I'd like to think I could support you in doing something about that. Right, me, God, I've been there a long time. I worked at Ilfracombe. I used to teach up at the college. Some of you may have. Don't come away. And I first started there in '74. And I moved into Ilfracombe in '75, was here till '79, and then I went sort of walkabout. Lived in Greece for a few years, lived in Lancashire for a few years, and I sort of liked. And also I was offered a job back here. I thought, yeah, I'm coming back, I'm never going to stay, but I'm eternally grateful. I said, it's a great place to bring up children, and my children have benefited. Ilfracombe's had to offer the school I worked in and the friendships they made here. I'm used to sort of working in committees. I've been elected governor 3 times at 3 different schools that I've worked at or had to do with. And I've found that a very useful thing to do. You actually sort of get under the skin of places. I know how to work in committees. I know when to say things. I know when to not say things. I know when to agree with people, and I'm not backward at disagreeing with people. You know, none of us come into this here to polish our own halos. If something's right, we support it. If it's not, we do what we can to oppose it. You know, everything is political, isn't it? And, you know, I tend to think when it gets to this level, party politics fades out. We've all here got perhaps a party or a movement that we say, yeah, we agree with that. And yet I suspect most of us here, when it comes to something in Ilfracombe, would sort of want to cling together, whatever our party political support is. I think it's important. Obviously, your political background shapes you, but it also should shape you to those who work with people. Now, finally, I'm looking around, I think what I could inject is a bit of youth. I'm a bit concerned with all these youngsters around, you know. But anyway, thank you very much. I think maybe that's what I'm saying. I said what I'm going to say. I'd be very happy to serve, and also be very happy to support this chap as well.
Thank you very much. Okay. Right, Mel, would you like to say something?
I'd love to. Hello,
Yeah,
everybody.
how you doing?
Hello, everybody. When I was writing this, I did realise it was turning into a bit of a life story. So I've kept it a little bit, I've kept it down to 3 minutes, hopefully for you. But I think it'll give you a bit of an explanation about who I am and how I've got to where I am today. So some of you do know me already. My name's Mel Turnbull. I'm a 41-year-old mother of teenage boys, and for the last 4 years, my husband Ross and I have run the Hand Plant, the local art gallery come coffee shop on the High Street. I wasn't born in Ilfracombe, but having lived locally for 18 years, since my early 20s, I feel like I've done a lot of growing up here. We've been visiting from our hometown of Newbury in Berkshire for most weekends to surf. Fell in love with the area and the lifestyle, because, you know, what's not to love. So I made the decision to leave behind my job as a retail manager at the body shop and try and make a new life by the sea. As many younger people do, we picked up jobs in hospitality. Life was simple, but the era of little responsibility didn't last long when we fell pregnant with our first son. So it was time to put down some roots and start doing something for ourselves. We started our first business, Sheets and Leaves Garden Services, which we ran successfully for 10 years. We were saving hard for a house deposit, and we're lucky enough to be able to buy the house we've been renting on the High Street from our landlord in 2019. The sale included the shop below, which had a tenant that, being sort of like a couple of months before the pandemic, she left, had no idea if she's going to get back, so then we were stuck with a damp, empty shop underneath our house and no idea if she was coming back. She didn't. So the garden business was starting to take its toll a bit physically, and with it sitting there, we thought we'd take a punt basically. We sold the garden business to a friend, took out a loan and spent our entire time during lockdown renovating the bottom floor. We opened the shop up ourselves in April 2021 with no real certainty whether it would work in the early days just after COVID. At first, we had 5 artist friends as contributors, and we sold plants that I grew and takeaway coffee in our own crafts. Over time, though, this has increased to around 30 artists. The shop has become a thriving creative hub, hosting workshops, the Ilfracombe Repair Cafe and Wall. Sustainability has always been one of my business criteria, so we focus on minimising waste and plastic use, as well as working with other organisations of a similar ilk, such as Plastic Free North Devon and the Earth Repair Shop. As I said in my application, we were finalists in the sustainability category of last year's North Devon Business Awards. Regarding my suitability for the council role, because I told you I was going to go on a bit, self-employment requires a good deal of self-discipline and time management, creative problem solving and objective thinking. And being customer-facing certainly demands a level of people skills and at times quite a lot of tact and diplomacy. I've always been passionate about community and willing to give up to help others, and I've already done some voluntary work within the town. I was committee chair of the Lantern Preschool long after my children had left, until unfortunately, like many small charities feeling the financial pinch, we made the tough decision to close our doors last year. The position involves signing off policy, overseeing staff recruitment and appraisals, and the general running of the setting, as well as fundraising. During the pandemic, I was a volunteer coordinator as part of the council's own volunteering initiative. I care very much about our more vulnerable members of society, and I hear stories every day of the issues faced by some of our shop customers, and sometimes I feel a bit like I should have been the other sort of councillor. Recently, I've been attending the Ilfracombe Cultural Town Team meetings. I'm hoping to play a part in projects which should involve the community, helping people to gain a sense of civic pride through participation, and in particular to improve and promote the High Street to locals and visitors alike. We have links with the art trail team and support and promote them through our shop social media. Finally, as a parent with children attending the academy, I believe I'm in an excellent position to represent the needs of our local young people. I'm in touch with how they're navigating the issues presented by a modern world and the problems specific to living in our area regarding opportunity and ambition. So that's me in a nutshell. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Okay. Really tough decision, I know. Okay, over to you, John. Thank
My
you.
name's John Allen. Good evening to you. Thank you for inviting me along this evening. So as I've sat here, I've kind of rewritten. It does tell you clearly that I have to admit, a glowing. I'm from up country. We've only owned a property in Ilfracombe for 5 years, and I've only lived here for the last 3. So I admit that up front. So both my wife and the environment plays a big part in our lives. Julie is an open water swimmer, and I row for the Ilfracombe Kind of Big Club. So water quality and our harbour and the maritime environment is important to us. It also brings a lot of revenue to the area through fishing, sailing, tourism, etc. Funny enough though, it's through Julie's swimming endeavours that I got introduced to the Ilfracombe Maritime Festival. This festival, as you know, brings a lot of much needed income to our area and has become very popular with both visitors and locals alike. But it also shows what an amazing community spirit there is in Ilfracombe when it is harnessed and focused in the right direction. For the festival to happen, we rely heavily on local business, community and the local people to come together with a can-do attitude, which they never cease to do year after year. So both the physical and mental health of our community is very important to me. As ambulance crew, I am exposed daily to the hardships that exist in our area. We take people back to their homes, which are cold because they can't afford to heat them, to homes where there's no food in the cupboard, to a home where the only person they will see over the next 24 hours is a carer who comes in 2 or 3 times a day, or to a care home which is underfunded and as a result understaffed. And mental health in this area seems to me to come at the very bottom of a very long ladder. We have a major hospital 15 miles away, which I now understand is not being redeveloped for the next 15 years. Our local minor injuries unit is now open only on Saturdays and Sundays, when I believe it should be open on a daily basis. As part of the team that work there, I see the importance of having a local place to go, rather than having to move the 15 miles to our local A&E. And they might, for goodness knows how long before we are seen. We also have our own cottage hospital, which seems to me to be wholly underutilised. There surely is more space for face-to-face services which took place there and the money was made available. On a more personal note, I recently had to go and see my GP to sort out a problem. It took nearly 2 weeks before I got to see her. I'm sure this isn't acceptable. Getting an appointment to see an NHS dentist, I'm told by many of my patients, is a near impossibility these days. It is private or nothing, and unfortunately for many, this means that dental care is not going to be given to any, including children. Now, I can't stand before you today and say that I can resolve all of these problems or issues overnight. I can't. Really, I can't. However, I've read your strategic plan for the 2024-2034 period and the 18 objectives that it lays out, and I can see that the ambition is there to improve our town and its environment for both business and our community. I can see that becoming a town council will be part of that team will make a positive difference to our community. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much for all of you. That's it, isn't it? There was one more.
There was one,
Yeah. Yes, okay. Right, well, thank you very much again, guys, for coming and putting your names forward. We have got a difficult decision, and you know, all excellent candidates. So please, if you're not co-opted on, then please don't get too upset. Please stay involved in the community because you've got lots to offer, and there's lots of other things that we can be involved in. So please don't be strangers if your name isn't.
There's another chance in 2027.
Okay, so we're going to take those thoughts forward, and we're going to talk about those later, and we'll have a vote later on. You guys are welcome to stay and watch the rest of the meeting, or you can disperse if you would like, but we will decide that later, and then the town clerk will be in contact to whoever gets co-opted on. All right, but thank you very much for a wonderful sport for choice, really. You know, well, there you go, we were scratching around for council. You ended up a DJ. He's our old man, by the way. Hey.
That's fine.
Hey. Right, thank you very much. Right, we're going to yeah. Right, we're going to move on to the number 6. Thank you, guys. We're going to adopt the minutes of the last council meeting on the 13th of January 2025. They've all been circulated. Now, can we have a proposer to adopt them? Anybody proposing? Yep. Councillor Quinn, yeah. Seconder? All in favour, the true record? Any abstentions? Anyone against?
George abstains.
Well, yeah. Okay, are there any matters to discuss arising in those minutes? No, all happy there? And any actions?
No.
Okay, that's done, thank you. Number 7 are the minutes of the planning committee. We will go to Councillor Williams for her report.
Thank you. I'd like to present you the minutes of the planning committee meeting held on Monday the 20th of January. As members have no doubt read them through, I'm sure if there was any questions, you would ask me. There was a shared discretion, which I'm not sure if we had any correspondence relating to Laura.
No, other than what I have sent out to you, I haven't got any further forward. There is that there was no tree protection order in that particular area according to North Devon District Council. As to who owns the land and has cleared it is still questionable. I don't know.
Because I know there is now a container on it as well.
I'll keep trying.
Right, thank you very much. Right, members, can we please note if there's any questions?
Okay, anybody got any questions for our planning chair? No, okay, well, thank you, we note those, we don't vote on those ones, but we note your minutes, thank you very much. Now we go to, yes, number 8, finance and general purposes, Councillor Newland isn't here, do we know who.
Councillor Huggins is unfortunately online but away, so if I could ask for a member that was at the meeting, so.
Right.
Probably me.
Well,
Yeah.
you want to do it?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, surprise, surprise. So the minutes of the financial and general purpose meeting, I was kindly co-opted on, at last minute, and I will assure you it was a good meeting, so if you all note it, please don't ask me questions. I don't think anything massively controversial was discussed.
No, we have a few updates and actions though.
Sorry, run through the updates,
I would appreciate it, at least 10 minutes warning.
I'm sure.
I'll tell you what,
Laura
I'll
will
help you with that one,
Okay, so
okay.
we've got actions from the minutes,
So, within the minutes, the first point on our agenda, 8.1.1, responsible financial officer Carol brought through the treasury management and investment strategy that got circulated with the combined papers that needs, a proposal to adopt and agree, and all in favour if possible.
I'll second that. All in favour of adopting that policy?
You've
Yeah.
obviously all read it in detail.
Yes.
Thank you, anyone against, abstentions, no, okay.
Next point is 8.1.2, which was a proposal which I'm actually going to rescind because we don't need it. So what we were discussing and what we had agreed at finance and general purposes was that we were going to try and look within our staffing budget to be able to finance the town crier's uniform. We have very kindly since had some funding come through from Councillor Crabb's Devon County Council funding, so thank you for that, Councillor Crabb. So we no longer need that 8.1.2 to be agreed, so
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
As for 8.1.3, this is where it all starts getting a little bit more complicated. So within the proposals that we took to finance and general purposes, there was the discussion with regards to the lantern. The lantern, we've got 2 issues with it at the moment. One is that the lift is not up to standard. And the second one is that there is literally next to no heating available within the Great Hall. Obviously the lift is a major priority because we have a lot of groups that attend. It was raised at finance and general purposes that there was 2 options for this. We could spend the money and bring it up to standard, or we could look at replacing it completely. In order to replace it completely, that we were looking at a cost of around £32,000. It would be what they call an overhaul. It means that basically the lift, the shaft as it stands, remains as it is, but a whole brand new lift goes in its place. Obviously this would be the preferable option, but unfortunately £32,000 is an awful lot of money that we don't necessarily have just floating around to do. So what the finance and general purposes team decided and are bringing to you is that we look at the cost of the lift repair to bring it up to usable and workable standards, which is £5,635. And in conjunction with that, and this is why it has been agreed as a joint item, is that we also look at putting heating in, which is space heaters, at a cost of £5,361.47. This will then get the lift to the point where we can get it working and that it is safe for users to use. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be talking about this in another year's time, unfortunately, but it will keep us going until we get to the next time we do need to discuss it. And hopefully, obviously, it'll be a longer period than a year. But it will also give us the opportunity to be able to use the Great Hall more for those people that are generally now not using it because it is too cold in the winter. So it just opens up the possibility for hopefully some of those groups, especially things like friendship groups and things like that, being able to use the Great Hall. So those are the two cost proposals.
Okay, so we've got a proposal from the F&G, oops, sorry. Councillor Elliott.
How effective do we know that space heaters are? I mean, it's a huge space, isn't it?
It's, I'll be honest, I mean, I've been and seen some, Gavin had took us up to a unit up at Mulcott, which uses them. And Mulcott, industrial unit with no heating in is freezing, and the heat that they gave out was pretty instantaneous, and would give that instantaneous heat. They'd all be at a lower level so that they're not, obviously, we're not going to try and heat the top of the building. It's been designed by an engineer that it would heat.
And are they, as a supplement question, are they expensive to run? What's their kind of eco footprint?
I couldn't tell you on that one, I'm afraid. I'm not that versed, unfortunately. Our facilities manager hopefully is, but he's not here this evening, so I can't give you input on that one.
Councillor Coulter.
I have used space heaters in the past, the really big warehouses, and as long as the heat's trapped in, as long as there's no open windows up above, it does fill the place for it.
Okay. Anybody else got any comments or questions? No, okay, well, we've got a recommendation from the F&GP committee to go ahead with the repairs of the lift and the purchase of space heaters. So anybody in a proposal for second, maybe second, isn't it?
Say yes to the lift.
Yeah.
I need a bit more research on space heaters.
Okay.
Can we take them half and half?
Yeah, we can split them as two items, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right, we do two separate bits then. Okay, first one, are we happy to spend £5,600 on repairing the lift to get it working and up to standard?
I'll propose it.
Yeah, okay, all in favour? Okay, thank you very much, right, that's that one passed. So would you like to put a proposal to research it a bit more, or?
I know, it would just fall, wouldn't it?
Hey,
It would fall, wouldn't it?
so we either vote, we either put it through or we don't.
Or
And
we delay.
I wonder if you're on the second proposal to delay it and do a bit more search.
Good luck, suppose we have.
Yeah. Okay,
The second, hang on, second for that. Yeah, and then Terry wants to suggest a deferment, something?
Defer until next meeting, just get a bit more research on it.
we can defer to the next meeting. It'll be some of them, so no, there's no rush because we've managed up till now, but we're coming in spring, so we can defer.
okay, so if there's no hurry, we can do a bit more search to make sure we've got the most efficient solution. Yeah, everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, then I think the last one, all right, is 8.1.4, which is basically, I did do a report for finance and general purposes, which was within the combined papers that have been sent out previously. The town town maintenance operative, his vehicle unfortunately is now at a point where it won't pass its MOT, and it's not really worth spending the money that we've been quoted to repair it. So the recommendations that were brought to finance and general purposes was to either keep the repairing the current vehicle at the estimate, which was between £2,000 to £3,000, or we agreed to purchase a new vehicle and determine the recommended budget. I don't think there was a recommended budget suggested, because Councillor Townsend was going to look into options with regards to possibly financing a new one, but after some discussion, we've decided that financing a van for the work that it would do would probably incur a small cost in damages and dinks and getting things in and out of it, because it's always going to have lawn mowers, for instance, being put in and out of it, that it probably wouldn't be worth us looking at that as an option. So the costs that I had found and had brought for a second-hand vehicle, and I'm no expert, so we would do more research on it and make sure that we get it. But what we need to agree is the budget that you would give us up to is around between £5,000 to £8,000, and that would be for a standard Renault Traffic, Vauxhall Vivaro type vehicle that the facilities team could use for the hardware and groundworks and things. Yeah, it would be extra.
Okay, so we are, oh,
I was gonna say, if you're, it's a gross declaration of interest. However, I've got a Volkswagen van that was end of lease and they offered it me at ridiculous money. So I bought a van, don't particularly want, but it's an electric transporter. And if you go on Auto Trader, if you can get one for less than 10 grand, you'll be doing well. Mine, what I pay for it, which is 82 plus that. But I'll leave that with you. We won't discuss any more now, because I'm too sat in the room. But there you go.
okay, so what we're voting on is, do we repair the old one?
No, you've already decided you decided that at finance and general purposes, that repairing the vehicle wasn't an option. So the next option was to bring to full council was to agree the replacement option, which was you need to agree a budget that we can work on, and we will then replace that vehicle.
Yeah, I don't think so, that works, but there we go.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
budget.
Unfortunately, I'd love to give you an exact price, but I can't pinpoint one vehicle and expect it to stay there for
If I
3
propose,
weeks.
if I propose a budget of 10,000, that will give you wiggle room, is that? Yeah.
That is what we have within our reserves for the replacement of that vehicle at present.
So I propose that we set aside £10,000 to replace this vehicle. If someone likes a second.
So we're saying up to 10,000, are we gonna go to FGP to, or are we just gonna let officers?
If you, I mean, I'm never gonna spend 10,000.
Yeah.
If that's any consolation, if anyone knows me, I never get anything within the budget you give me, I'm always undercut it something, so. But, yeah, this is your decision, not mine. We need a vehicle, currently it's Sawn, we can't use it, we're one vehicle down at present, so.
Well, we need to go shopping, these projects, and things usable.
Okay, all in favour of seconding 10,000? Yep, okay. Anyone against? Abstentions?
I better say, just go like
Okay,
that.
yeah, okay, there we go. Right, that's FGP, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, that's all the items on finance and general purposes minutes, so.
Good, thank you very much. Now we go to the staffing committee meeting of the 27th of January. Councillor Fay to report.
Yeah, it did happen for us, and the main reason we weren't for it was in the Sundown in Egypt. So, yeah, it didn't take place, so I'll update next time.
Okay, thank you. Nothing to action of, sorry.
Just to note that we have been without members of the staffing committee for some time. And I wanted to push this forward in December. But this is going to go forward to March now, so we've been without a full number of members, down by 2 in the staffing committee for some time. And I have put forward that it's really important to have female representation on that committee due to some of the issues being discussed affecting women differently, like we have a menopause policy, but there'll also be carers policy and things like that. I just want you to note that, because I don't think it's acceptable that we've taken this long.
Okay, we'll note that, thank you. So, at the end of my, thank you, we're on to number 10 now. Proper officer report.
Yeah, I put through my report, I'm hoping that you've all read it. Most of the items that I put in my report, I think, are actually agenda items. So there isn't a huge amount to kind of read out of that. So if I move straight on to 10.1, which is as part of my report, is the community governance review. We brought this up at the last meeting. This is a review that North Devon District Council are doing. I did, if you look at the document on screen, send out all the questions out to all of you, and I've only had one response to it, which would be to question 5 from Councillor Elliott, which suggested that we possibly consider whether or not we would go back to 3 wards, being East, West and Central Ward, as we were previously. No other suggestions have been put forward, so if anyone is in agreement, obviously I would take that as a proposal to go to,
You want me to explain why?
yes, of course, you're very welcome to.
So Central Ward is really, we really experience concentration of some of the issues around health inequality and deprivation are concentrated in Central Ward. It's where we've got the poorest quality housing. It's where we've got the majority of our private rentals, flats, and people living in properties without outside space and gardens. And I think that those issues are quite unique to Central Ward, and I think they're watered down by the division into East and West, because on those boundaries we have higher income, people with higher incomes and better quality properties, which is this disconnect between really understanding the problems that there are. We've also got, is quite unique in that we have the town centre with the businesses and properties there, which the high street, as we all know, is suffering a decline, and a lot of that is linked as well to the housing above. So I think if we really want to hone in, we need 3 wards so we can really represent Central properly without that dilution.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to comment? No? Okay, are we happy to? I guess we've got to send this something else.
Yeah,
okay.
you have to, the response we have to give to North Devon Council has to be a council response. So though it has been suggested by Councillor Elliott, if everyone is in agreement, that will be the response I will go back to them with.
Can I just ask, why was it changed? I don't know the background.
We used to have 3 wards.
Yeah, so why did it change to 2?
Simplification, I think. You know, it would be cost to somebody who wants it, I guess, that's
Yeah, only changed recently, it wasn't that long ago, was it? It was only, yeah.
When I joined, must have been 2019 when we joined, it was East West, wasn't it, I think?
Okay, I think we're happy to send that, comment through to North Devon Community Governance Review, see what we, yep. Good, thank you, okay. Thank you very much.
Then 10.2 is with regards to standards and conduct framework consultation. I've sent the link through on this. This is, government have recently issued this. This is to do with local government standards. It's a consultation for everybody to fill in. I'd urge all of you, absolutely every single one of you, to please fill that in. Personally, as individuals, it is something that I know as officers, and when you go to varying conferences, as I did week before last, I'll count my lucky stars that I have you as councillors, in fairness, because some of the horror stories we hear are not particularly pleasant of other town clerks. So sorry? No, I'm not going to frame that. It is recorded and will be on YouTube for view as of tomorrow. But I do count my lucky stars in comparison to some of the stories that you do here. But it is something that we can, as a council, respond to as well. I was hoping to have been able to get something out to you so I could get a majority response on all of your individual responses, if that makes sense, so that we've got a majority of that. I haven't had a chance to do that because we've had an issue with the software I was going to try and use. So I will take that out, and if you are all happy, I will send that out individually by email for you to respond, and then whatever your majority as council members is, will be the answers that I will put through as part of the consultation. Are you happy with that? Lots of nodding heads, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to our responsible financial officers report. Carol, let me see.
So you should have all received my report. Additionally, there is an addendum, as always, because a lot of bills came in over the weekend, so if you can have a quick look at that as well. Majority of the bills on that are actually REDF energy bills across the site, but there's an extra £2,320 to approve there.
Okay, any questions on the payments, items for payment? Okay, we're in favour of paying our bills? Yeah.
Who's proposing?
Yeah, I propose we pay the bills. I think we have to do that. Anyone against paying the bills? No? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, I should get
So
that.
can I just ask Carol a question at that
Yes,
stage? We've got League Aid toilet stand. Was that from when it was open at Christmas, or is that?
No, that's the full amount, financial years.
Right.
You're looking at the,
Yeah, this add-on.
Yeah,
Related.
that would be the EDF, the League toilets.
oh yeah, no, that's just a month. They send it in every month. So that's what's been for the last month. So that was January's.
So we've been closed in January, since
Yeah.
January, so now we're allowing the developers their access. Is it the bill that will
No,
go?
it should stand in order.
Oh, right, okay, get
Yeah.
that, sorry.
No,
It's
Right.
£26 a month, basically,
Right.
to have
Full
electricity to the building.
but in response to
To
your
that
question,
question, yes, is that
we
happening
have,
now?
we have had our water bill and we have, I think, am I right,
Yes.
saying Carol has invoiced out to the
To-
building company,
Fine.
so that they are now financing that water cost for the
When I say
facilities.
pay it, I am chasing them up currently to pay it because they didn't like something on the bill. I think it was the address, and I rang them up and said, you will pay it, and on the next bill it will be
Correct, address.
correct.
Or we turn it off.
It was actually, it wasn't the address itself, it was their name, because their name under Company's House is different to what they wanted on the invoice. So
Understand.
I said, I would amend that next time, but I could not, because Sage won't let me do it. So we will be getting money from that.
Yeah.
So the next part of my report was to look at what should have come first was the accounting status. Is everybody happy with what they've seen on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, everybody happy to agree that? Yeah, thank you.
And then just to update you, the action on the non-payments, we've, the letters went out and all overdue accounts were, predominantly up to date. We've got one or two newer ones, but they will hopefully pay within, well, usually I find once the letter goes out, they pay. So hopefully those will come in very shortly. But our persistent non-payer has now paid up to date, which is really good news. We have, with regards to the CCLA, we are still pulling in quite a good interest rate from them. I have sorted out the £12,000, which was the remainder of the insurance for the memorial. That's now gone into the reserves. And the regularisation of those accounts is underway at the moment. I'm just waiting for CCLA to get back to me to confirm that the interest from the working reserve is going into the specified reserve account. And once that happens, I can withdraw the interest and pay it back into the specified reserves. That's the only way they'll allow me to do it. I've got all the paperwork sat there. I'm just waiting for them to confirm to me that I can now go to the next stage of that. I think there was only things to say, just bring to your attention, which we did mention in F&GP, is that our precept has been submitted and it's taken the base tax figure, the base figure down, the chart for a band D from 149.4 to 136.59. So that will be next year's, but the contribution to our part of the council tax.
Okay, good work, thank you very much. We go to Steve, the program manager.
Yeah, so exceptionally busy month, continuing the theme, basically, done quite a bit on the ICT budgets, which is now complete. We've also a big bit of work as a PCN contract, which is coming up, which will be part B.
I didn't know if you knew it was in part B, because I think you were downstairs when we.
That's part B. And so we'll cover that, it's main bit of work. Those Place Sustainable Funding, we're still working on that at the moment, hopefully we should have a package in place for that, which should be really good. Car park business plan, obviously that's coming out today as well, so quite a bit of work spent doing that. One of the accounts has been submitted and approved by ABB accountants. And it's just important to know it will be sustainable for the next 2 years. And then we've been working on the revamped one of the we had a meeting last week, which was very good. And then I'm in the process of working with Mark to do one of the overdue report, which we'll present at the next full council meeting. But apart from that, everything's good. Not sure if anybody's got any questions on that.
How's community lab going?
Yeah, it's going well.
The people are coming in and.
Yeah, good, well received. I think it's a good location. So the community larder, as you don't know, where the Lambton courtyard is. And our community developer set that up and it's going very well.
All contributions welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Councillor Crabbe?
Pick up some detail on that. In terms of Ilfracombe, the Ilfracombe and the task force kind of combined now, working rather well. This is at board level, shouldn't affect anything underneath that particularly, apart from talking about strategies and driving it forward. There's an administrative secretariat now, which is 4, I believe, quite senior officers from partner bodies. So you've got 2 from district, 1 from county, and 1 from the NHS. And it was in danger before of some things sort of like wafting about in the ether. And now there's 4 people on extraordinarily high salaries, part of whose job now is to make sure that stuff doesn't fly about in the ether and gets driven forward. So that's quite a good step forward. And also the new chairman, our previous chairman, in a particularly sad moment, although I did give him a bit of line to console him on his way, our previous chairman, 13 years I think, has been Rob Donovan, who has stepped down because he'd like to be a member still, but he feels that being a chairman is now, he doesn't particularly want to do that anymore. So we've managed to talk Ken Miles into being the new chairman. That's quite a positive step, because it means that the person who's now the chairman, if one of them decides to do something or says that something's quite a good idea, the chairman's got a job to backslide over it, hasn't he? Because he's got all the tools to do it if he wants to, hasn't he? So that's quite a, we think that's quite a coup anyway. So, and there's talk that we may bring some more councillors on it from county and district, but it's all a bit, the more councillors you bring on, you might bring more power, but then you lose local concentration. So they're discovering that. But I'm sure that's sort of the secretariat we're looking at. So there we are. So one of the people has changed quite a lot in the last 3 months, and it's sort of gone up a year. Okay. Thank you.
Do we have an up-to-date list of who's on the Ilfracombe board and the partners, just because it has changed?
I'm sure Steve will knock something up in the next day or 2, and you'd be excited to see it in the email inbox.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to thank Councillor Donovan for all his hard work chairing over those years. He was there when we started, and yeah, as always, he's a force to be reckoned with. So thank you. Right, now we go to what?
Just for the curiosity, I mean, I managed to rattle up a 50-year-old bottle of wine covered in cobwebs. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's all in hand, is it? Yeah. It's well done. Okay, lovely. Your coffee.
Perfect. Okay, right, we've got a bit of, right, B, isn't it? We go to 13, reports from Ilfracombe Town. No, hang on, that's.
Unless there's, so we've got, unless there's any other town councillors with verbal reports, we have one from Councillor Elliott, which we're putting into part B.
So we go to 14 then?
Is there any?
Yeah, is there any other reports from town council? Okay, so we go to 14, reports from county and district councillors, and I'll hand over to councillor Wilson. Who knows? Circulated a report.
Yes, I circulated a report. I hope you've all read it. I can't bring it up in front of me, but I can kind of remember it. Oh, thanks.
This one I heard earlier.
So yeah, it's quite a month for meetings, but where there's a lot going on about local government reorganisation discussions. I put in my report and all the different possible permutations and how anybody will ever agree with any of it and be satisfied with the criteria. It's going to be a very long road, I think. And as you know, the Devon County's proposal to go into the first tranche hasn't been taken up, so we're just going to see what discussions and what agreements we can make as districts that satisfies the criteria. Some of the difficulties are that the criteria should be equally economic, the authority should be equally economically viable. So that obviously means it's difficult if we had a northern unitary that didn't have an economic power base and then with an extra at the bottom, because that would make a very unequal 3 unitaries in Devon. So there's loads and loads of different permutations, but a lot of them don't seem to be satisfying the criteria. So we talked about this a bit last month, didn't we, about how, as Paul was saying, it's getting rid of 2 tiers government, replace it with different form of 2 tiers of government spending. So yeah, that's that. It's going to take up a lot of council time, which I think is a shame because it's distracting from what we should be doing.
That's good. What impact is it having on morale of staff and recruitment? Because potentially people don't know their jobs are secure.
I can only guess that some people at North Devon District, they've been there since they started at 17 and now they've maybe been there for 20 some years. So there's inevitably going to be job losses, isn't there? Because it's an amalgamation at some point. And so I don't know, I can only guess. I think, I don't know about the other district councillors, that it is having a negative effect. But having said that, the expression of interest that can go in wouldn't go until March from all the districts, and it wouldn't actually start working on it till November, but it's still not that long. So who knows? There's so much uncertainty. I think it's uncertainty that's
April 27th, I think they're ready for, aren't they?
Yeah, and it looks like everyone's got to do something. No one can be left out. You can't just say we're not going to reorganise. So I think it's going to have an impact, and a lot of local knowledge will be lost as well, which is a shame. We've worked for a long time. Yeah, so that's the main thing that's really going on, and will go on and on and on for a long time. And the other thing is the finance settlement that's been proposed by the government. Our finance officer at North Devon District, John Triggs, wrote a very strong rebuff to most of the suggestions. Basically, his point was that urban areas really don't get per capita spend that they should get. Sorry, rural areas don't get the per capita spend they should get. And he highlighted it in such a way that made it quite stark, the differences between an urban area getting so much money per head, £162, but in a rural area it's about £72, £77, and yet we pay more council tax. And how these injustices have been going on for a long time, and they're still going in the wrong direction and they need to be turned around. So that was quite interesting to read what he was saying, and I couldn't disagree with any of it. I think he needs to go. That would be that, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, there's lots of change on the horizon there, so, I think as a town council, we've got to be prepared, we may have to pick up a lot of the pieces, so, but we'll see what happens, there's nothing we can do about that, we just got to be ready, so, thank you very much. Anybody got any questions for Councillor Wilson? No, okay, we've got our other district councillors here, as we said, there's not much on the agenda apart from what you've already discussed, so, anybody got anything to add?
Can I just add that I went to a Hatfield meeting on Friday, quite interesting, and we did discuss the problems with the bus service. So I'm hoping that that will be sent on to the group that actually deals with it. We all made comments about the price increase, which is obviously having quite a devastating effect on some of the families here. You know, I mentioned about school children, and obviously we're going to pass our comments on to them. Just as an aside comment, as you know, I'm a representative of the district at the IBTA. I don't know if Laura is aware, but Elliot has stood down as chair. Right, so, yeah. So we're obviously that's going to be an interesting conversation to decide who's going to take that post on.
So not being filled?
Not at the moment, no. There are people filling it, but they haven't actually been elected to take that position.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we've now got the report from Councillor Pratt for the county. It's circulated. Highways Health Devolution Budget. Anybody got questions? Yeah.
Could you please have your report sometime in advance? It's very difficult in a meeting to have the written report.
I could do this, but they are extremely fresh.
Yeah, you need time to read it and digest it if it's a written one.
The, if we're picking up on this, on the devolution, there's a couple of things Sarah said has changed. As I said here, I mean, there are about 9 or 10 chief execs now that have got to go into a room and come up with a workable policy, which is nonsense. That's going to be literally like ferrets fighting in a sack. The government, because we're not in the first tranche, the government will no longer pay for the costs of devolution. So the new, we are still in it, as Sarah said, everybody's got to do it, and you've got to submit your proposal, what you intend to do by the 21st of March. And because of all the savings that we'll make through all the efficiencies, the government wanted to pay for anything. So they will all be paid for and all the savings, which is tremendous news. The main reason we weren't in the first tranche, which means it wasn't paid for and all the rest of it, is because Cornwall have said absolutely no to them there. In actual fact, they've passed a motion, I believe, at full council that they're not even allowed to discuss having a mayor, which is quite remarkable. Those of you who watched this week's Politics Out West, which I'm sure you will agree was a much more boring programme than last week's programme, but I can't tell you why. The MP for Plymouth was completely dismissive of that, and he said, "Oh, I don't know that because I know those people who call more than one a mayor." So I wouldn't be at all surprised if they come down with a big rubber stamp and appoint one. I don't know. The way it's looking on that, coming back to that programme, when I was down in Plymouth, I was sat there with a senior councillor from Plymouth Council, Plymouth Unitary Council, and the woman there was adamant that they'd been told that because they were already unitary, they were going to be allowed to form a council with 300,000, which is worse than Exeter, because Exeter's been told 350 supposedly. But you take Plymouth out, 300, next to out 350, there's not much left. There's 3 farmers above what this got, and they've got to pay for everything. But that's that. So, anyway, everything else on here is as written. The budgets, we're the same accounting. We've managed to get a balanced budget, but only by scraping all the farthings off the floor. Government funding to Devon went up 2.04% this year. Leicester Council, similar sized council, their funding went up 7% from the government, which I thought was nice, but only 2% down here. So if you could all start voting Labour, please, that would help things now end.
I'll email out the budget that you sent to me. I'll email that out tomorrow to everybody.
Okay, that's our report. If there's any questions, Councillor Elliott.
Can I just note that I think all of this uncertainty will have an impact on the elections, county council elections. So as a town council, we should be doing our part in encouraging people to register to vote and to turn out. Just something maybe we can discuss.
We've only had confirmation as of this week that it's definitely going ahead. So as soon as we were waiting on that before we do anything further.
So it's maybe picked out in the next council meeting.
Okay. All right, now we move to 15.1. You got anything, Councillor Coates, for the meeting?
Well, I did provide an update for February, so you should have all seen that. So I won't go through it all again, but just a couple of updates. The ongoing thing at the Grange with the flooding. I know you were emailed, I know you were forwarding it on to Harris. I don't know if you had any response or any feedback.
I've got tomorrow morning, I'm with Alex all morning and we're going through everything and making a list of all the.
Yeah.
Is that Alex Byrne?
Yeah.
I'll tell you for why, the resident now is so disgusted with the level of service from customer services at highways, i.e. not returning phone calls, not getting back, not doing what they've said, saying you haven't got, are you flooding now at this moment? No, because we've been up through the night clearing it. It's been taken off, it's not registered as flooding, they're just completely disinterested, and the resident is going to be putting in a formal complaint regarding customer services, but you know, that's gone in yet, so if you can have, if there's any conversation, all they want is somebody to come out, have a look at the problem and, you know, come up with a plan.
I will make that happen, but also if you can get whoever that is to copy me into that when they say.
Yeah.
That'd be great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
And then just very, very quickly, following on from the last meeting, we did have representatives from the golf club, remember, from the golf. One of the residents of Lee had written in as suggested to West Down Parish Council with the concerns, because they actually come under West Down rather than us here at Ilfracombe. They had a response from the clerk that yes, they haven't got planning for what they're currently doing regarding lighting, and he was forwarding that to North End Council Planning for enforcement to pick up on it.
Yeah.
There's an enforcement notice been issued.
Yeah.
To say that they've got to either shutter the lights or put them on a timer. I think it'll be on a timer, don't
They said we're on a timer, the problem with the timer is, it's go on till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and starting on again at 5 in the morning. So, you know, we're having, you know, such an extended period of.
But that's, they have been served, the notice has been served.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Oh, just one very, very quick update, if you're interested. In car parking at Lee Bay, we're waiting for the developers to finish using what was the car park for their welfare facilities, so that it can be handed over to National Trust. We're going to take it on and create a lovely 70-space car park, and they have permission to build a cafe at the back. We were looking at the handover taking place probably September this year to December. We've heard as of this week, at the request of the developers, owing to some delays, that's not going to happen till at least March 2026. So if anybody's thinking of coming and parking in the summer or around by that time, please don't park at the village hall. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. We move to 16.
Let's go to ILB, there's any other points in
Yeah,
there?
do you want to mention?
Nothing very much to mention, Evan, stuff amazing. The discussions with the church are ongoing about the Emmanuel, to see if there's anything mileage to happen there. The church felt that the cost of repairing the spire was about 300,000. And I think if I'm right, it's now about 600 or 700, isn't it, the council surveyor?
I don't know, at one point it was banded around a figure of $1 million.
Yeah,
so-
but I think they're up to about 600 or 700,000 now. Today, we, and I mean we as the people of Ilfracombe, have sent our spreadsheet to, or surveyor's report to the church, and they've got to justify their position. There was even talk in the meeting that the church is still expecting a capital receipt, but when you think that if you spent $500,000 on that spire, the building's not going to be worth $500,000 when you finish over the door. So it's almost like a negative price building, but there we are. It's not going to do too much, but the museum may have found a home. But speak to me afterwards, because I don't know, it's not already public, I don't know if that's going to happen yet.
Okay. Now we to 16, guys, receive correspondence, licensing and notices, do you have any?
The only correspondence which has been circulated is about the North Devon off-street parking places order 2025 as amended. So basically with all the car parking charges that went up, that got approved at North Devon District Council. This order then just goes out to everybody so that everyone has a chance to object or make comment. If anyone does, please feel free to do so. But this has been circulated as currently in the window downstairs, so everyone's aware of it.
Thank you. We've got 17, public convenience bills.
The actual action point of where it says to review, I was doing this over the phone, so it may be slightly skewed as what I'm actually asking you to do. So public conveniences, it's more of an update at the moment. The Heel Bay toilets have now officially been handed over to us as of, well, it says on the document Friday, but they turned up with no keys. And the contractors hadn't done the work they were meant to on Friday, so it got handed over today. So officially, as of today, we have had the keys to Heel Bay toilets, so those are officially ours. Signage will go up to say that they're ours, and cleaning will commence. I am going to bring to finance and general purposes a proper recommendation, but we have had a somebody come forward who has sent us a quote to clean the toilets on a regular basis on our behalf, rather than us employing a person. It is something that I'm highly considering because I think from a staffing perspective, it will probably help us. It will get us through that initial stage of not knowing what we're actually letting ourselves in for. It is within the budget that we'd already set. Well, it will be, whatever way we go, we'll make sure it's within the budget we've already set to employ somebody. It might be on a long-term basis, but I can foresee it at least for the first year as a short-term basis, just to ease us into it. It takes the pressure off of our facilities team. But as I say, I've only had the one quote. I will put it out to, because it is obviously going to be of substantial value. So I will start looking around to get some additional quotes so that I've got a better recommendation to bring to you all. But just so that you know that that is the route I'm considering going down, having had conversations with my facilities team and just thinking of it from a working perspective and ways that we can try and make it easier for ourselves rather than harder for ourselves. So even if it's just a starting point for the first year. So I will bring that over to you. With regards to what's happening next, I have got a file about that big on my desk, which is Brimland's toilets. So that is obviously gone through the solicitors and is now on my desk waiting for me to review. It's not a delaying tactic by any stretch, obviously, just because obviously this is recorded. But it is a lot of work to kind of go through that. So as soon as I have, and I've gone, ticked every box and checked every line on contracts, I'll come back to you all with that.
At the beginning of this process, I fed in my thoughts around charging for toilets, which we will be doing. I'm not sure where we're at with charging for all toilets, but I did ask that the toilet working group look at ways to mitigate the impact on poorest people in our community. Has any work been done on that?
Not at present. We only due to the fact that we know for a fact that the toilets that we would be looking at charging on we haven't even had the heads of terms agreed on those ones yet. So because there's a lot more work going on in the background with regards to that. So at the moment, for those that don't know or are new to it, with regards to public conveniences, the council agreed prior to me being here, so that would have been back in 2022 probably, to take on the toilets that North Devon District Council decided that they no longer wanted. There are 5 of them, plus the new ones that are being built. We have looked to agree that 2 blocks out of the 5 would have chargeable doors on them. So, but at this point, that's the Harbour and Wold Road, and those 2 are not close to even coming to us as yet. So, but as soon as we get closer, then yes, we'll start looking at that. But it's hopefully quite a long way down the list. at the minute.
Okay. So we have our first toilet today, wow.
Yeah.
After many years of being told we're having under toilets.
We finally got them, yes.
So then that one's our responsibility, you're paying.
Can I just ask on that? Is still they open 24/7? Is it open all year?
Currently it is, we might consider, because I've only got 2 staff members unfortunately in that team that drive, being the 2 unfortunately more senior staff members, that's what has kind of flagged up, you know, certain logistical issues. We might shut 1 or 2, but we might keep them all open. We'll just see how it goes. And you know, they'll make that decision on a day-to-day basis. As it kind of comes into more holiday time, obviously we'll have them all open, but hopefully by that stage we'll have a better idea as to what we're going to do with regards to whether we'll have a contractor or not.
Okay.
Do I recall, sorry, please, yeah, thank you. Do I recall that we were thinking that having a shower there would be a jolly good idea, but then we were told that that would break the lease or something?
Not break the lease, we can ask for permission, so it is something that we can do, and it has been adjusted within the contract that is something that we were definitely looking at and that we would just need to get approval for. I think basically we can do what we want, but we just got to ask permission first.
Okay, that's a plan.
Sorry?
Okay, that's a plan.
Well, we could put a bakery in there if you like. Unfortunately, no, they have to be kept as they are.
That's 17.1 dealt with, now we go
Yes.
to 18 in part B, so we've got 19.
Yes, so 19, if anyone did get an agenda which had 19 was the number 5317, we apologise, that was a clerical error, but you should now have an up-to-date version. So this is with regards to the Tourist Information Centre. Councillor Williams may know exactly where I'm going with this one, but just as an update as to where we are with that, I emailed the stand-in chair, who I think is the stand-in chair, as to what was happening with regards to, because obviously we had supported the Tourist Information Centre the whole way through, and last year they obviously decided to try and run it on a volunteer basis based out of a smaller area in the box office of the Landmark. They have since come back and have said that that hasn't worked due to volunteer capacity and various other logistical issues. We supported them at that point with equipment as opposed to financially supporting them directly with any funding or grant funding. I have requested a response with regards to what has happened with that equipment. It will be possibly coming back to us. I don't think there's a lot that they can use that they will be able to use within the pop-up setup, other than maybe obviously the card machine. But that is still something that's being discussed. Obviously, I know that there are some feelings with regards to the situation, but I'm going to try and avoid those type of conversations in case anyone's going to, just because I'd like to try and keep a good working relationship with those that are now currently having to step in to deal with the Tourist Information Centre. So I will keep you updated as to if we have anything else come up on that front.
And I would do likewise.
Okay, we've got some policies, we take both these on bulk unless you've got any questions. Are we happy to adopt the policies which we've got, health and safety 2005 and health and safety handbook 2025? Anybody?
A lot of reading on
It is a
that.
hell of a lot of reading. Just to make, well, help with the reading, there were actually in the front pages of all of them, you'll see that they would put, if there was any changes, they actually do put that in. It is a legal obligation, and we do have to obviously adopt them as policy, but they have not changed since the last time you adopted them, so.
Okay, I'll propose we adopt both of them. Any seconders? All in favour of adopting both policies? Thank you. Against that. And first discussion, I don't think we have any. Has anyone changed their mind there? No? Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm going to start doing, just in point 22, this is, bear with me because this is something that I'd like to try and start putting in, and it will take us a couple of meetings to get used to, but what I'd like to do is possibly at the end of each meeting and have within your draft minutes is to have almost like a table of actions, and I'll actually, say it was actually John's wife Julie who kind of gave me the suggestion as part of Bernarda Clark. That when we actually have this, it will be a table where if a councillor has agreed to action something or to do something in that meeting, that gets written down, they can come back with an update. And it just kind of pulls us back in, so we remember things that we've said that we're gonna do. And you know, when the agenda goes out, it'll give you at least 3 working days to do whatever it says that you were meant to have done at the last meeting, so, thanks for crap. So, yeah, just that is something that we're gonna try and start doing. I don't know if it'll work, I don't know, it may work, it may not, but hopefully it'll try and focus everybody on the actions that we actually do bring up in these meetings, so we're not kind of scrambling around at the end.
Very cautiously, we can do bugger all, don't I?
No, you please do not feel that you have to keep your hands down. Please agree to do things. We're very, very welcome any input from members.
Okay, right, that brings the part A of our meeting to a close. Thank you everybody on for attendance.
So just to be clear, nobody's got to do any action.
Well, there will be actions, I'm sure, but I don't think there was anything actually, yeah, so give us some time, we'll develop point 22 as we go.
Right, we need to vote to move into part B.
Yes, I'll go move to part B.
Yeah, I second moving part B, all in favour, part B. Thank you very much. Right, at this point, we have to ask anybody not the council to leave. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, much appreciated. Thanks for coming. Okay.
No.